Good morning, everyone. This is Dana from NexGen, and I hope everyone has had a wonderful weekend. Now, last Friday in Me Inc., we talked about the different budget methods, and then I told you that today I'm going to be talking to you about Kakeibo. And it's another word, I think it's a Japanese word, and it translates into household finance ledger. So this is just another tool in your toolbox, if you will, for budgeting your finances. Now, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I believe that they do have they have books in the library and books that you can buy that actually talk about the financial ledger. And then there's apps, and then you can always use a bullet journal. Now, at the top, you will see there is two bullet journals that I have, and they usually are like dot grid. And the one on the left was on sale for $2.24. And then the one on the right, the pink one, I think that one was $1. So you don't need to do anything fancy. So what I do have is just a regular notebook that I filled out the information that I think was helpful to come up with my ledger, if you will. So the first thing I did is I did the month of September 2022, and we're going to use Angela's budget. So what I did was went through the steps of Kakeibo, and I'd like to discuss that with you today. So the first thing that we need to do is to conduct an annual review. Now, I also did a blog on this a couple of years ago, and I'll put the link of that in the description. But I talked through the 4 steps of putting this together. And I also wanted you to see what it looked like so that you can see pretty much it's a simple thing. Now, where you see the washi tapes is where I made mistakes and didn't want to use a lot of whiteout. So of course you can always decorate your ledger. All right, let's go ahead with the first step. The first step is to conduct an annual review. Now, this this annual review is similar to what we did, I believe, in week 2 of our Me Inc. series. So what we're going to do is take a look at what happened the previous year, which is 2021, and then take into consideration what's going to be happening in 2022, because there are some things that happen every year and there's some things that happen every other year. So I'm going to be putting down real estate taxes, homeowners insurance, car insurance, holiday and birthdays expenses, things that I would be paying for once a year or every other year, these infrequent bills. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. Then step 2 is I'm going to create a monthly spend plan. So as you can see up in the top, you have the calendar for September 2022. And the reason why this is significant is because the amounts that we're going to do in the next steps are going to be dependent upon how many days there are in the month. So when we're doing our monthly spend plan, we're going to be asking 2 questions. One is how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. So when we talk about how much money is coming in, and this is on a monthly basis, and we're talking about the net and not the gross, because we're going to be actually using this in our budget. We're going to be recording these from all sources, so they can be your paycheck, it could be any type of income that you would be receiving. So, or an annuity. So in this case, the income for Angela was $5,950. So that's the identification of the income of what's coming in. Now we want to look at what's going out. And so what we want to do is we want to record our monthly fixed expenses. And what do I mean when I say fixed expenses? I'm talking about mortgage, utility bills, health insurance, and debt payments. So I started writing out all of the different categories or the different elements that Angela had in her budget, but I thought it might be better just to do a roll up. So the income is $5,950. So what I did was I put down her home, those are her home expenses, which is $2,093, her auto, which is $636, her life insurance, which is $42, her student loan, which is $300, and then she has a savings goal, and that's something else that you would put in there, is your savings goal, and her savings goal is $1,000. So if you add that up, you get $4,071. So once you have what you have, your income, and then you documented what you have going out as far as fixed expenses. Now, there are other expenses, I know, but these are the ones that are fixed. We're going to get to the you got the fixed and you have the variable. We're going to get to the variable in just a minute. But what you want to do is you have your income and you want to subtract your funds that are going out, the fixed expenses, and then you're going to get a remaining balance. And in this case, the remaining balance is $1,879. Now, what is good about this method is that when I'm doing the budget, I'm taking into consideration my savings goal, or in this case, Angela's savings goal. So this was taken into consideration. So now we can move forward by taking the remaining balance, which is $1,879, divide that by 30 because there's 30 days in the month of September. And when we do that, we will get a daily spend goal of $62.63. So keep that in mind, because step 3 is to determine the weekly spending. So when you're determining the weekly spending, what you would do is you would take the daily amount and multiply it times the numbers of days in the week. So if the daily is $62.63, in the first week of September, I would multiply that number times 3 because there's 3 days in September, and that would get me $187.89. And then, of course, for the next 3 weeks after that, we would multiply it times 7 to get $438.41. And then the last week is 6 days, which is $375.78. So these are your weekly spends. That's what you're looking at right there. So that's what you can actually do this monthly ledger on 2 sheets of paper, maybe even 1. But on here, I'm showing you how you can do it on 2 sheets of paper. So when you're doing your step 3, you have your weekly spending, and now we want to go ahead and record the spending. So on the second page, what you see now, on the days, you actually don't have to do it that way. I just marked it to 30, but sometimes you may have more than one spend in a day, but it just so happens that was not the case here. So what you could do is on the left-hand side where it says day is to write the day that the spend occurred. And there's a reason why you'd want to do that. And then the next column, you'll see the expense, which you actually spent the money on. Then the third column is the amount, and those are the amounts that you see there. Now, next to that, you see 4 columns, and what you're going to do is you're going to categorize the spend into the need, the wants, the extra, or what we call cultural. And I'll explain what each one of those means. Now, a lot of times, some people, they actually use the pen that has 4 different colors: the red, the blue, the green, and the black. So that you have one pen and you're marking down your expenditures on a ledger, and then you can transfer it later. But in this case, I actually have a column and I highlighted the areas that the expenditure went in. So on the end column where it has the need, that is the non-fixed expenses. So that's different from the fixed expenses that we did earlier. So these are things that we can't live without, like food, groceries, soap, powder, those types of things. So that goes into the need category. Then you have what we call the want category. And these are the things that we can live without. And that is like extra clothes or going out to dinner. So that's the category for the wants. Then we have the category for what we call extras. And these are sporadic expenses that you didn't plan for in your yearly review. Remember step 1, we did the yearly review. Well, let's say something came up that wasn't part of that. Then that would go into the extra column. And that would be things like a wedding gift for a friend that you didn't know was going to occur that year, a repair bill for a car, or even a medical bill. So that would go into the extra column. And then the last column is what we call the fun stuff, the cultural things like books, museums, Netflix subscriptions, all those fun things would go into that column. All right, so after you put all of your expenditures in the first 2 categories, then you first 2 columns, and then you go through and you mark what category they go in, you can see that in this particular case, there was a lot of expenditures that were in the need category. There were 2 expenditures that were in the want category, and that was where she was getting her hair done. And I don't know what she bought for Staples, but she said that was in the want category. That was not in the need category. And then she had the fun stuff. She had at least 4 things in the fun stuff. Now on on the 28th, it does say Carrabba's, and you're probably wondering why that wasn't in the want category. But I'm thinking that she actually paid for someone else's food. So that's why it was, I think, in the fun category. So what you can do is you could either put that amount in the column, or you can do what I did and just highlight the different areas. So after all that's done, what you want to do is you want to do an analysis. So now we're going to go ahead and analyze it right now. So in week 1, and the weekly spend was $187.89. So what she spent in the first week was actually $12.41. So she was under. In weeks 2, 3, and 4, this weekly spend is $438.41. That's in the next 3 weeks. The second week, she spent $252.54. The third week, she spent $221.72. The fourth week, she spent $238.65. So all 3 weeks were significantly under her weekly spend. And then the final week, the spend limit was $375.78. And she actually spent $107.92. So when she's doing the analysis, she can see that she is under her spending limit. So she may want to make some adjustments. She may want to move more into the savings. However, what's really good about this is that if anything were to come up, or let's say that she wanted to go on a vacation or something like that, then she not only has the money to do it, but if she wanted to get some things, she has enough in her weekly spend to accommodate that amount that she's going to be spending. So this is just a snapshot of what a Kakeibo looks like, the financial ledger looks like. And I would love to get your thoughts or maybe some ideas on how you may be doing yours if you're doing that. So hopefully this information was helpful, and I look forward to your comments. Thank you very much and have a great week.